أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له إله الأولين والآخرين وديان يوم الدين وجامع الناس ليوم لا ريب فيه يوم لا ينفع مال ولا بنون إلا من أتى الله بقلب سليم. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله صلى الله عليه وعلى آله وأصحابه ومن تبعهم بإحسان إلى يوم الدين. يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله حق تقاته ولا تموتن إلا وأنتم مسلمون. أما بعد فإن أصدق الحديث كتاب الله وخير الهدي هدي محمد صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم وشر الأمور محدثاتها وكل محدثة بدعة وكل بدعة ضلالة وكل ضلالة في النار. ثم أما بعد، النبي صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم يقول: الدنيا ألا إن الدنيا ملعونة وملعون ما فيها إلا ذكر الله وما والاه وعالما ومتعلما. ألا إن الدنيا ملعونة ملعون ما فيها إلا ذكر الله وما والاه وعالما ومتعلما. This hadith, Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, he said, this dunya, this life, is being cursed by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It's being cursed. This life is being cursed and everything in it, except dhikr of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, remembering of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and whatever related to the dhikr of Allah. وَعَالِمًا وَمُتَعَلِّمًا, and a scholar and whoever study, and a student of knowledge. We should worry about any verse from the Quran or any hadith we hear from the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. We should not let it go without understanding and looking to apply it, because we know that worship of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala not going to be pure and correct without knowledge. And then this hadith showing how important for us to at least to follow the knowledge. If we are not scholars, so be a student of knowledge. Look for knowledge. Save yourself from this cursing. He said this dunya, this life, is being cursed by Allah and everything in it. And everything in this dunya, in this life. Except remembering of Allah, anything related to it. And the scholar and the student of knowledge, the one who studied the religion. Beside this, everything is being cursed in this life. We should think about it, and we should be part of the numbers of people. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam mentioned them. The dhikr of Allah, remembering Allah, and anything related to the dhikr of Allah. And then, meaning the dhikr of Allah is not being cursed, and anything related to the dhikr of Allah, to remembering of Allah, is not being cursed. The scholars, they not being cursed, and student of knowledge, they not being cursed. Beside this, everything is being cursed in this life. So we have to think about it. And then we know that the Prophet ﷺ also, he said, مَجْتَمَعَ قوم في بيت من بيوت الله يقرؤون كتاب الله ويتدارسونه بينهم إلا نزلت عليهم السكينة وغشيتهم الرحمة وحفتهم الملائكة وذكرهم الله في من عنده. Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he said, if there's a group of people, if they get together in the one of the houses of Allah, meaning the masjid, one of the houses of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, if they reading the book of Allah and studying book of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, what happening? إِلَّا نَزَلَتْ عَلَيْهِمُ السَّكِينَةِ. There is a tranquility from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to them coming down. And then the angels surrounding them as a protection. And then there's a special mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala coming down to them. And Allah will mention them to the angels. If we, anyone amongst us, if we hear one of the kings or presidents mentioned in the TV, your name, anybody's name, and he mentioned your name and your last name, and he tell the people on TV, this person, he's my best friend, and he's a good person, and I'm close to him, he's close to me. What are you going to do? Maybe you walk in the street and you see anyone, you're going to tell him. You hear this president, he's talking, I'm his friend, and he's my friend. Meaning, at least you're going to tell anyone you know what he said about you on the TV. What about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Because you looking for the masjid, looking to study something about the religion, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gathered the malaika, the angels, and then telling them about you, mentioning your name to the angels. So this is, there's many, proofs we have in the Quran and from the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam how important for Muslims to study, to have knowledge. There's no proof ask you to, for you have to be a scholar. And then there's no proof in the Quran or from the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam that tell you have to be in a masjid all the time. No, you do your best. You do your best. You worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala anywhere you can. And you help yourself, you help your family, you help your kids, you help others. It's all worship. But we should not be ignorant about our religion. At least about the foundations. Even not details, if we don't know, the religion by details, at least the foundations. It's very sad for the Muslims, especially the youth today. If you ask about any player, soccer player in Real Madrid or Barcelona or any other teams, the majority, they know every name of the team. This is shame, wallahi. This is not smart, to know names of these teams, these players. This is not a smart. This is shame. And compared to this, if someone asks you about 4 or 5 names of the companion of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and you don't know. If someone asks you about Abu Hurairah, you say, I was talking to someone, to a Muslim. I said, Ibn Taymiyyah said such and such. He said that he lives in Saudi. And he's 750 years ago he passed away. He said he lives in Saudi, this scholar. You know, it's really sad when we know the names of the players. Some of the youth, they know the size of their shoes. Wallah, you know, you laughing? Wallah, I know some. So I hear some people, they know the size of their shoes, the size of the t-shirts, okay, the numbers. And then when you ask them about the Ashar al-Mubashara, huh? Who? You may say, you know, who's the 10 people they got news from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam told them they are from Jannah before they die. Probably they're going to tell you, I don't know, maybe one from Pakistan, one from somewhere, maybe from Hindustan, maybe one from Afghanistan, one in Turkmenistan. Maybe it's really sad. You know, it's really sad to see the ummah like this, to see the shabab. We point to this, I think, at the khutbah, some of you was here. Wallahi, the time we spend for sports, if we 10% of this time, I'm not going to say more than that, 10% of this time we spend for these sports and this social media, 10% for the Quran, wallahi, you will be saved from the punishment. Wallahi, you will be saved from the punishment. Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he said in a hadith, أنتم في زمن كثير العلماء وقليل خطباء لو تمسك أحدكم بعشر ما لو ترك أحدكم عشر ما يعلم فقد هوى وسيأتي زمان كثير خطباء وقليل علماء لو تمسك أحدهم بعشر ما يعلم فقد نجا. This is the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He said, he told the companion, Radwanullahi ta'ala alayhim, he said, your time, you majority of you are scholars. You are a scholars, majority. And very few amongst you give khutbah, khatib. And then he said, if you leave off 10% of your knowledge, you will follow the desire. And then he said, there's a time coming. There's a time coming, meaning after the Prophet ﷺ, maybe our time. There's a time coming. كثير خطباء. The majority, there's a lot of khutbah. A lot of people able to give khutbah. But قليل العلماء. The scholars, they are qalil, they are very few. The scholars will be few among the people. And then he said what he said. He said, لو تمسك أحدهم بعشر ما يعلم فقد نجا. If they hold and apply 10% of their knowledge, they will be saved. Meaning they will be saved from to follow the desire and from misguidance. They will be saved from the misguidance. 10%. And this is, we see today, majority of the Muslims is good to miss the salah. Majority, they have no answer. They have one answer. No, it's not good. Majority of the Muslims, if you ask, lying is good? No. Stealing is good? No. Backbiting is good? No. This is the answer, no. Because we know, majority we know. Stealing is good? They say no. Drink alcohol, good? No. Or make adultery? They will say no. You cheating people? They will say no. Backbiting is good? They will say no. Oppressing people? They will say no. So majority, they will answer no. They know, because we know they're not good. But how many people away from these no? Meaning from this stuff they say no. How many people away from the haram, from cheating, from lying, from alcohol, from adultery, from stealing, from selling haram, for dealing with haram? Majority. Majority, very few amongst the people, they will be away from the haram. And this is very sad, brothers. I know I'm kind of, harsh in my speech, but it's so sad when you see people, how looking for dunya and how they worry about all these sports. Recently I found out, I don't follow soccer and this stuff. But because was a reason for me these couple days, there's a game, whatever, I don't know what they call. Huh?
Bahrain.
No. There's a plane. There's a sports going on, and I think they finished. I don't know. Whatever, I hear numbers of millions of dollars, hundreds of millions of dollars they spend, for these players and for the trainers. Their neighbors, they're looking for food from the garbage. And they spend hundreds of millions of dollars for a trainer. Train what? Training people, just to bring a ball and kick it. That's it. And then thousands of people gathering, watching who's gonna kick it better. That's the bottom line. Who's gonna kick it better than others? That's all.
And the gambling too.
That's all. And then, brothers, I want to say, don't be part of this. Wallahi, if you sad or happy for what they doing, you are part of it. Because it's the sanam yu'bad min dunillah azza wa jal. Is the idol worshipped other than Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The soccer today is an idol and being worshipped other than Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Wallahi, if you're sad for what they're doing, if they lose, or if you're happy if they win, you will be part of it. You will be part of this because it's the idol being worshipped other than Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Why? Because money spent, if they give me half of this money just to count for them, I'm not going to be able to count it. They sad for the sake of sport. They're happy for the sake of sport. They get angry. They separate. Deviation. They don't sleep. Missing fighting. Missing ibadah. Not missing ibadah, there's no ibadah. Why? Because there's no way someone during the game to go out to pray. There's no way. Is a sanam yu'bad min dun Allah azza wa jal. الفرح والحزن كل ما هنالك من الشعور الطيبة وغير طيبة لهذا الصنم. It's very sad, brothers. And then coming to the Quran, we don't know to pronounce the ayah correctly. And then when we talk about the hadith, maybe we know some of it, maybe we missed some parts. When we come into the salah, our salah, I'm talking about the people who pray. I'm not talking about the people who missing the salah. Coming to the salah, the fastness we see in the salah is very strange. There's some people, they pray to get rid of the salah. They pray, Allah, they pray to get rid of the salah, not to enjoy the salah. Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam he used to call Ya Bilal, Arihna biha Ya Bilal. Make us happy. Meaning call adhan, call iqama, make us happy. Let us to enter the salah to be happy. And now we just quickly just finish, run back to the phone, run back to the TV. There's a game. Even wudu. You know, people making wudu fastly, you know, and then just because there's a game. This is very sad, wallahi, brothers. This is very sad. I'm mentioning this, you know, because I know I'll be responsible on the Day of Judgment if I don't tell you. I know how people involved with this problem. It's okay to play, it's okay to have sports, it's okay to have games, it's okay, but not to make it, love for the sake of ball. You hate for the sake of ball. You happy for the sake of ball. You sad for the sake of ball. You laughing for the sake of ball. You cry for the sake of ball. You know, I'm not saying everyone, but there's a lot of people. They cry and laugh and happy and sad because of the ball. It's not for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And then الأخلاء يومئذ بعضهم لبعض عدو إلا المتقين. الأخلاء أي في الدنيا. الأخلاء من تآلف مع شخص ما، مع جماعة ما، مع جهة ما، مع حزب ما، مع لاعب ما، لا لوجه الله عز وجل، سيكون أعداء يوم القيامة، يعادي بعضهم بعضا يوم القيامة. الأخلاء يومئذ أي يوم القيامة بعضهم لبعض عدو إلا أهل الإيمان، إلا أهل التقوى، إلا المتقون. And the Day of Judgment, any friendship not for the sake of Allah, they will be against each other on the Day of Judgment. Any type of friendship, if not for the sake of Allah, they will be against each other on the Day of Judgment, except the one who love for the sake of Allah and unite for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Otherwise, they will be against each other on the Day of Judgment. And then top of this, ويوم يعض الظالم على يديه يقول يا ليتني اتخذت مع الرسول سبيلا. يا ويلتى ليتني لم اتخذ فلانا خليلا لقد أضلني عن الذكر بعد إذ جاءني وكان الشيطان للإنسان خذولا. يأتي يوم القيامة يعض على يديه ولا ينفعه، يتأسف ولا ينفعه، آهات وحسرات ولا تنفع يوم القيامة. يقول يا ريت لو كنت على طريق الرسول صلى الله عليه وسلم، يا ريت ما كان فلان قريب مني وصديقي وحبيبي وصاحبي، يا ريت. لماذا؟ لأنه بسببه أنا تركت الدين، بسببه ابتعدت عن رب العالمين. يا ريت يا ليتني يا ويلتها ليتني لم اتخذ فلانا خليلا. يا ريت لو ما كان صاحبي ولا صديقي ولا قريبي. لماذا؟ لقد أضلني عن الذكر، أبعدني وأنساني، أبعدني عن الله وأبعدني عن القرآن، أبعدني عن ذكر الله تبارك وتعالى، أبعدني عن طاعة الله عز وجل. والله هذا حاصل. ويوم يعض الظالم على يديه. الظالم أي الذي ظلم نفسه، ليس الظالم الذي يظلم الناس، الذي ظلم نفسه في وقوعه في معصية الله تبارك وتعالى، في بعده عن الله عز وجل، في بعده عن طاعة الله عز وجل، هو الذي هذا هو الظالم. كما قال سبحانه وتعالى في قوله تعالى يا أيها الذين آمنوا لا يسخر قوم من قوم عسى أن يكونوا خيرا منهم ولا نساء من نساء عسى أن يكن خيرا منهن ولا تلمزوا أنفسكم ولا تنابزوا بالألقاب بئس الاسم الفسوق بعد الإيمان ومن لم يتب فأولئك هم الظالمون. ومن لم يتب فأولئك هم الظالمون، أي ظالمون لأنفسهم بوقوعهم في هذه المعاصي، في الاستهزاء وفي الاستحقار وفي الغيبة والنميمة وخلق الألقاب للناس. بهذه الذنوب فهم ظلموا أنفسهم. So the one who well, my brothers, I'm so sorry. I don't know from where, I go from a place and come back to another ayah, because the situation is very serious. It's very serious. So the one who oppressed himself, he's not friend with people for the sake of Allah, and he's not upon the right path. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, in the day of judgment, he will bite on his finger and he will say, I wish if I was upon the path of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And then he will feel sorry and he will say, I wish I wasn't friend with this person and this person, because they kept me away from the right path. Because of them, I left the worship of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And this is going to happen. There is no way to avoid it. There is no way. Because this is Allah telling us. And the day of judgment, he will bite on his finger and he will say, I wish I wasn't friend with this person and this person, because of them, I left the religion. Because of them, I was far away from the religion of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So the one who not upon the right path, the one who not with the worship of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he's the oppressor. He oppressed himself. He oppressed himself by against the worship of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Anyway, this is I don't know, something come to my mind, and then now we're gonna come back to the should we make another video or continue? I don't know.
Maybe another video.
Huh?
Maybe another video.
Because I don't know. It's maybe too long. Zoeb, take a look. How long have you been talking?
27 minutes.
27 minutes. So it's already, So if you want to do it, make another video, because we don't want to make it too long, and then we're gonna spend some time